up, all my fight fans? So, for all you boxing fans, this is a very, very disappointing end of the year. Is it fair to say that? Is it fair to say that? Let me start this off first, guys. I am one hell of a boxing fan. I've been a boxing fan way before I was even an MMA fan. One of my first years of really looking into boxing was 2007. I saw Mayweather and De La Hoya. My family was always a De La Hoya fan. That was when I got into boxing. Prior to that, we always had boxing fights. You named the De La Hoya fight, we probably saw it at my house, no problem. And I'm telling you guys, I came from a generation when fights was fights, when boxing was boxing, guys. Oh my God, when the best fought the best, when there was none of this bullshit regarding contracts, regarding stipulations, regarding gloves, ring size, locations. None of that shit mattered when I was watching boxing. And I'm sure even further, if for you older generations, you guys who grew up in the 80s, that was one hell of a year. The 70s, that was one hell of a year. Well, I grew up in the 90s, that was one hell of a year. The early 2000s, it started slowing down, but still one hell of a year. A little bit later, still kind of slowing down, but still one hell of a year. Guys, what the hell has happened to boxing? Seriously. I'm telling you, I mean, literally, there would be fights after fights, month after month, left and right. The best fighting the best. Who wants to be the greatest of all time? Who wants to fight this guy? Who wants to fight this guy? I'm telling you, you couldn't have enough pay-per-views regarding fights. You know, you couldn't have it. It did not exist. It did not even happen. It did not even come close to like what it is today. You know, it just left and right, the generations after generations of boxing, that it just grew and grew. And then you know what ended up happening? It changed. I remember pay-per-view was not even that expensive. It was almost like $40, maybe $50. Now it's going up to 60, 70, 80. That Pacquiao Mayweather was 100. And it's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Why in the hell is the end of the year in boxing is this disgraceful? You got Chisora versus Tyson Fury, a third fight where Tyson Fury won the decision and knocked him out in their two fights. Then you got Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence that could not be made. That was supposed to be made. That was supposed to be this generation, Hagler versus Hearns. The best versus the best, undefeated versus the undefeated, prime versus prime, and we are not getting that. Why is that? Why did that happen? The holdup with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, the fight that we couldn't get with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Why could we not get that? What's the problem with you guys? What's your issue? What's the matter with you? Is $1 million not enough? Is 10 million, 50, 60, 70 million not enough? Is a rematch not enough? Is a certain glove size not enough? You managers, you boxers, all of you guys are to blame. I don't want to hear anything was him, her. No, 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 no. All of you are to blame. If you are managing this person, if you are managing this fighter, if you are managing Terrence Crawford, if you're managing Errol Spence, if you're managing any of these guys, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, you guys are to blame. 100% are to blame for the reason why we are not getting the fights today. The promotions are to blame. Golden Boy, Top Rank, Al Heyman, all these guys. Everybody is to blame the reason why boxing is the way it is today. That these guys, boxers and promoters and managers, agents, it don't matter. All of you guys are to blame the reason why boxing is today. I know what people are going to say. Well, on our side, we're good. We want to give this person, but this person won't accept it. Then that person's going to say the exact same thing. No. Everybody is the reason why boxing is the disgrace it is today. Because nobody is fighting the best anymore. Everybody's waiting everybody out. Everybody wants to make the most money and fight the safest fights. Why is that? Why? Because you don't want to get hurt? You're a boxer. That's something that's just going to happen. That comes with it. Eventually, you are gonna get hit. You are going to get hurt. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. We don't want to see anybody die. But does that mean you're going to try to squeeze all the money out of us fans so you can get paid, so you can walk around with your 20, 30, 40 million dollars in the bank every single fight and play it safe and not entertain us. Is that what you're trying to do? Because that's not going to work. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. We don't want to see anybody die. We don't want to see anybody having to sacrifice their life in that ring, but we do want to see fights. We do want to see the best versus the best. That's what we do want to see. We want to see your prime versus their prime. We want to see this guy, this generation, where we get to see who is the main guy in this world, the best of all time in this world, the best of all time in this generation. That Mayweather bullshit, and yes, I'm going to say bullshit. First of all, I am going to say I respect Mayweather. I respect him to a T. I 100% appreciate his craft, appreciate what he has done for the sport, appreciate his training, appreciate, his boxing science. Like, the guy was a masterpiece. But that waiting, guys, of letting it get bigger and bigger, that doesn't help us. That doesn't help the fans. That helps you guys. That puts more money in your guys' pocket because you want to let it build. You want to wait for that right, perfect time. There is no right, perfect time. The perfect time is now. If you're undefeated and this person's undefeated, then get it done now. If this person just so happens to be the best in that heavyweight division, and this other person could be just as best as he is, then do it now. Trust me, you have all the money in the world. You have more money than you ever spend. You can live 10 lifetimes and you're never going to go through that money unless you're foolish with that money. You managers are just making just as much as the fighters. So it shouldn't matter. Oh, what? Because your fighter is going to lose? Everybody loses. Nobody stays undefeated forever. Nobody. If you stay undefeated forever, it's because you chose to fight the weakest fighters at the weakest moment. And that's why I do say that Floyd Mayweather tactic is such a disgrace to boxing, is because look at what we got with Manny Pacquiao. Look at all the great fights we could have probably had with Floyd Mayweather. The part 2, we could have had a Manny Pacquiao 1, 2, and 3, but instead we waited 6 years until these guys got older, and then they got their big checks, and guess what? Bye-bye. If you're going to tell me you're good for boxing, you're going to tell me that this is what you are for boxing, that, oh yeah, I am boxing, I'm the one that's saving boxing, I'm the one that's doing good for boxing. No, you ain't. Guys who do that stuff, I get it. You're looking out for yourself. You want to protect your family. You want to make as much money for your family. That's all good. But you're still going to be able to do that. Everybody did that in their day. De La Hoya did that. It didn't matter. Look how many times he lost. I like to use De La Hoya as an example, not just because I'm a fan of his, but because at the end of the day, you look at what he did. You look at what he accomplished. You look at everything, and everybody always wanted to fight him. Why? Because he was always bringing in that money, regardless of the loss. He went in there, he lost against Tito Trinidad. He lost against Shane Mosley. He got knocked down against Bernard Hopkins. He lost the decision to Mayweather. He lost the decision to Pacquiao. Got dominated by Pacquiao, as a matter of fact. And he's still the money man. He was still the money guy. Didn't matter. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao weren't their pay-per-view stars up until he fought De La Hoya. And what does that mean? It means because he ended up losing. He lost. So look, are you going to tell me, hey, like now he lost all his credentials? No, people still wanted to fight him because they knew they were going to get a big payday. So it doesn't matter if you lose. If you're still good, if you lost a decision, oh well, go back. That's what we have part 2 and part 3 for. Those great back and forth battles of part 1, 2, and 3. It almost feels like everyone wants to try their best to retire undefeated. So what? Don't be afraid to lose. Don't be afraid to go down that road of loss and being like, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm sorry. You know what? I'd rather face this rank 9, 10, 12, 11, doesn't matter. Instead of rank number 1, 2, or 3. And try my best to protect that fight. Protect that round. Try my best to protect all those things. Protect my undefeated record. It don't matter. No one's going to remember you for undefeated. We don't remember anybody for being undefeated. We remember some fighters like Rocky Marciano are undefeated, but do we talk about his fights? I promise you, as years go on, they're going to talk about Rocky Marciano as being undefeated, but no one's going to even talk about his fights. Floyd Mayweather, I promise you, go up to anybody that you like, anybody say, what is the most memorable Floyd Mayweather moment ever? Very few remember that. Very few can actually remember any good Mayweather moment outside of that Diego Corrales moment. The way he punished Arturo Gatti. Other than that, that's it. It don't matter being undefeated forever. It really doesn't matter. We want to see these fights. And when we want to see these fights, we want to see them now. We don't want to wait later. We don't want to wait until like, oh, wow, this guy's already done. He's past his prime. There's no point. It really is no point. You know, that Mayweather Pacquiao should be the blueprint of what not to do. What not to do. It's not worth getting 50 million and then being a disgrace to boxing. Because now you're not giving us the fights that we want to see. You managers out there are trying to get as much money as you can. You managers out there are trying to do this business as much as you can. You managers out there or agents out there are trying your best to where you can have all odds in your favor, and it's not good for boxing. It really isn't. It's lowering boxing down. We are not getting the fights we want. This year, we did not get any of the fights we ever wanted. We wanted Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. We're not getting it. We wanted that Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. We did not get it. We wanted that Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. We did not get it. We wanted Canelo, David Benavidez. We got that Canelo Triple G. It's way later. It didn't matter anymore. We wanted all these fights, and everyone's just waiting until later and later and later. You know, and it's really bad for boxing. It's good for the boxer. It's good for the manager. It's good for the business because guess what? They get to pay that $10, $20 million in their bank account. Those managers walking around with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s, buying fancy homes, driving fancy cars. And at the end of the day, you're destroying the sport that you're trying to build. That's what's destroying the sport, is the waiting, is the constant negotiation, is the back and forth that you guys are constantly going over. It should be plain and simple. You're the star. All right, here you go. 60-40 rematch, whatever. It's just that simple. All these television, all these other different televised fights right now where we got Showtime, you got ESPN. All these guys need to somehow get together because those are destroying boxing as well. I really don't remember as I grew up seeing all these different ones, all these different outlets. You know, there's too many outlets. If you all could come together somehow, some way to where you can actually put all the fighters together, because it's like, oh, I can't fight that guy because he's top rank and he's with ESPN, or yeah, I can't fight with this guy because they're on PBC and Showtime or all these other different things. Like, no, that as far as I remember, the only thing I remember was Showtime and HBO. That was it. That was it. You know, and that's all you need. You don't even need two. You need one. You need one. It's like that right there is just making it harder. And I see why people are trying to do that, because it makes it easier for them to make fights so they can keep their fights in-house, so they can make the money for themselves, so they can do all that. And no, at the end of the day, guess what? Everybody, the one that loses is the fans. We are the fans. At the end of the day, the ones that put money in their pockets, in boxers' pockets, in promoting the pockets, agents' pockets, managers' pockets, is the fans. If we do not see, if we do not come to the fights, if we do not buy anything that you're trying to sell us, you do not make a dime. You don't make nothing. So I promise you, as great as you are, as amazing as anybody is, you don't make nothing unless we are entertained. And I promise you, little by little, we are not getting entertained as much as we used to be. It is going really bad, really fast. Fights are being made that should not be made. Fighters are going against fighters that should not be going against. And that's destroying boxing. Very much. It's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating to see where we're at with boxing today. And guys, I want to know what you guys think about it. I would like to know what you guys feel regarding this situation, regarding boxing, regarding this end of the year shenanigans that we are having. Please let me know in the comments, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.